Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Keep the calls coming in for early voting reporters. Be a freelance reporter on the James Show, 800-288-9227. You know, Texas Scorecard does some good work, but I hate having them on because these are all terrible stories. Aaron Anderson's back on from the TexasScorecard.com. Welcome back to the show. We have schools around here that may be breaking laws against electioneering. Tell me details, Aaron.
Well, James, thanks for having me on to talk about this. It's a big topic in the middle of this election. A lot of school districts are putting big bonds and tax increases on this ballot. And state law is pretty clear that governments and schools in particular cannot use public funds for political advertising or promoting candidates or measures on the ballot, like these bonds and tax increases. What's not so clear is what exactly constitutes this illegal electioneering. Where is that line? Because districts are absolutely spending a lot of taxpayer money on what they call informational campaigns to promote tax increases and bonds that are on the ballot. And to a lot of voters and taxpayers, it looks like electioneering to them. It looks like they are absolutely promoting, suggesting you vote for. But the line is, do they actually say vote for or vote yes, or do they just say, here's what we want, and please go vote?
Well, the stakes are so high around here. Two of the big ones you mentioned in your article, Frisco and Rockwall. Now, Rockwall's getting a lot of attention because, depending on how this goes, the average homeowner in the Rockwall School District, Rockwall ISD, might have their property taxes go up by 25%.
Right. There's some big impacts for the local taxpayers. And part of the problem is that the school districts try to downplay what that impact is. Their favorite thing is to say, well, we're not changing the tax rate when we pass these bonds. And yet people know that their tax bills are absolutely going up. They're paying more in some cases. And in Rockwall, you said it, they've calculated themselves big increases for these homeowners. And it's not that they don't want good schools, but they're saying, whoa, just how much can we afford to pay? And by the way, you're spending more of our money on advertising and promoting these big bonds and tax increases.
That's got to be illegal, right? That sounds like electioneering.
Well, that's the line, and that's what a lot of people are really calling for with this election cycle. They're seeing what's going on, and they're asking that the legislature look at this again next session. They've tried to do it in the past to clarify what exactly can and can't be said and done by these government officials at taxpayer expense to promote higher taxes, basically. And so it's a question. The districts absolutely say this is just information. We are not saying you should vote for it. But they're the ones that put these bonds and tax increases on the ballot. We know the school districts are for these things.
Of course.
So they don't even have to say the word for, although some of them cross the line and do.
It's like, hey, school, would you like $840 million? Of course they would. But here's what I like about your reporting, and it's not just you, the Texas Scorecard. When I see the newspapers around here and the TV stations and other media outlets, they always talk about these bond issues like, well, the school needs a new campus, or it needs a new scoreboard, or needs a new something, or this will go for education, or it's $800 million to boost education in Rockwall. Well, first thing you do is go calculate it out with actual interest. It's not $840 million that the Rockwall taxpayers are going to be on the hook for. It's $1.53 billion. And then you also spell out how much Rockwall ISD is already underwater. They already owe $1.65 billion in bond debt principal and interest as it stands now. And these are important details that I find get left out of other reporting, and it really would change the people's perception after reading the story.
Right. Well, that's it, James. It's the full information that the voters are entitled to have, and Texas Scorecard never tells people whether they should or should not vote for or against these things, whether they should value the projects that are being proposed, whether they figure it's a good value for their money. What we want is them to have full and complete information about the costs versus just the benefits. If you looked at the school district's taxpayer-funded information materials, it seems to be all benefit. So I liked what happened in Rockwall is that a group of families there put together like a Vote No campaign. They use their own money, not tax dollars, to put some information out to the voters to say, hey, there is a cost to this, and you need to know the full and true cost before you go and make your decision, at the ballot box.
Well, and I think one of the key statistics that you put in here that I wish was in every report over the time period that they've requested this new bond, their enrollment has gone up 1.6%, but they're asking for a tax increase by just 17% on one of the bond issues. If you roll them all up, 25%. They're asking for a 25% tax increase over a 1.6 increase enrollment rate. That doesn't fit.
Well, it's up to voters to decide what.
I know you're not supposed to take a position either way, but
it's full information, and those numbers are rather shocking.
Why do you have to be so balanced, Aaron? Why do you have to be so fair all the time? Thank you very much. Great reporting. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jane.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I don't like these bonds at all. In fact, I just have a default position. If there's like the propositions A, B, C, D, E, F, G, S, T, U, all those, I just no. My default, unless it's something amazing, my default position on every new piece of debt, no. Every bond, no. Every new change, no. That's my default position. You have to convince me otherwise. Besides, well, it'll be for the kids. That doesn't work on me anymore. 800-288-9227. If you have some early voting reports, I'd love to hear from the Freelance James Show reporters. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. This is The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Early voting reporters, get out your phones. You can be part of The James Show. All you got to do is call 800-288-9227. Even if everything went cool, we need to hear that. I want to know your location, how long it took you to get in and out, and the process. Was there any shenanigans? Everything goes smoothly? Any bumps in the road? 800-288-9227. For my next roving reporter here, Adam in Dallas. Your experience early voting on WBAP. Go.
James, thank you for checking in. This is Adam in far north Dallas. I voted this morning at the Fretz Park Library and Rec Center on the corner of Hillcrest and Beltline. There was no line to wait. Walked straight in, registered, voted, checked the ballot, checked the printed ballot, wrote down the number off the ballot, submitted it, and was out and on my way within 5 minutes. As a follow-up, I just drove by the site. There is no line outside the door. So if you want to early vote in far north Dallas, I recommend the Fretz Park Library and Rec Center at Hillcrest and Beltline. For The James Show, this is Adam in far north Dallas.
Oh, my goodness. Look, he even had a tag out. Man, that's my old neighborhood. I used to live at like Beltline in Montfort, and that's a term I don't hear outside of that neighborhood is far north Dallas. People don't understand that is a specific area, and if you look at the map of Dallas, for some reason, there's this weird, it looks like the stem on top of an apple that just pops up in Dallas,
right?
And
between Coit and Montfort, going from Bush up to, or from 635 up to Bush, except for the corner where Valley View Mall is now, that's now Midtown. I don't know how that works because there's downtown Dallas, there's uptown Dallas, which is right across the freeway from downtown Dallas,
right? And then this is
then
Midtown.
8 miles north, there's Midtown.
Nah, that's not a thing. They're just trying to make that happen, I guess.
Right. Oh, and hey, James, I don't know if you caught this, but you were mentioning like Dollar General and Dollar Trees, setting up. There's these places called CVS and Walgreens.
Yes. And
Home Depot and Lowe's. And there's also places called 7-Elevens. If you look off of 30 there at East Chase.
I'm getting a lot of sarcasm here.
There's a 7-Eleven right across the street from another 7-Eleven. So you might have checked those a couple of times.
All right.
Hey, enjoy your show, man.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed your sarcasm, sir. It was well placed. Carl in Arlington, you're next up on The James Show. Your early voting report. Go.
Yeah, I voted in Kennedale at the community center. Walked in the door at 4:49 and walked out at 4:56. And everybody was happy, no worries, in and out, no shenanigans.
Why we've got like 6 people from Kennedale. No shenanigans either. So, I mean, good. We're creating a bigger body of work that Kennedale has it together. So thank you very much, Carl.
Yeah.
Hey, do people say, hey, Carl, good to see you? Like from Billy Madison? I guess not. Frank in Fort Worth, you're next up on the James Show. Your early voting report, go.
Hi, James. Yes, I voted in Fort Worth at the Handley Meadowbrook Community Center. That was on Monday. It was after 5 p.m.
Where is that? I don't know that one.
It's like off of Cooper, south of Cooper, and I-30, kind of down in that area.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, was in. I only had to wait a few minutes. Voted. I did have to show my driver's license, which is good. They scanned that, gave me a number, put in the access code, voted. Checked my paper ballot. We're done, and it looked fine, and put it in the machine, and everything was good.
Yeah, so you had the one paper strip, 2 machine system?
Yeah, just one paper. You put it in, and you mark everything, and then you hit to save it or whatever it was.
Yeah, and then it prints it out, and then you got to go run it in the other machine. Yeah, that's what I had this year, and I think that's been the majority of our early reporters has had the 2 machine, 1 paper ballot system. All right, well, thank you very much, Frank in Fort Worth.
All right. Appreciate your show. Thanks.
Yep, thanks for the free work, everybody. You're not getting paid for this. When I say that you're a freelance reporter, this is a volunteer position. Okay, so Jake Tapper got into it with J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance pushed back. Hey, buddy, you lied about Russian collusion. You know I'm going to bring up the receipts from 2019 after you hear this. So just go ahead and enjoy the setup first.
You guys talked about the Russia hoax nonstop.
The FBI was investigating it. The FBI was investigating it, so we recovered them.
And so you took the words of unnamed FBI agents and put them on your network as if they were the gospel truth. You did it again and again. A viewer of your network would have believed that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin conspired in 2016.
No.
That was totally and preposterously false.
No.
Well, that's
what you just said is false.
Okay, so let's go back. You know I've got a hard drive here, right? I mean, you know the internet exists. Let's go back to 2019. We'll see if Jake Tapper's reporting tends to hint or imply or leave people that are watching with maybe the impression that Trump colluded with Russia. Let's see what the tape says.
President Trump has gone to, quote, extraordinary lengths to keep specifics about his meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin secret, even keeping them from top members of his own administration. Take a listen to how President Trump responded Saturday night when asked directly if he has ever worked for Russia.
I think it's the most insulting thing I've ever been asked. I think it's the most insulting article I've ever had written.
The president did not directly answer the question. It's a stunning turn of events. Do you think the president of the United States ever worked on behalf of the Russians against American interests?
So there it is. Do you think anybody watching that could come across with the impression that maybe Trump colluded with Russia? Well, they've been having secret meetings, and when asked if he worked for him, he didn't deny it. Jeepers, how long have y'all been working together? That was his reporting in 2019. Here he is 5 years later saying, I never got that wrong or misled anybody on that. I get everything right. We're the media. You're the only one who does misinformation. All right, Jake Tapper, we have the internet. We have memories. We have the ability to look this stuff up. So there you go. There's and I got time to squeeze in one more. Do you know who Charlie Kirk is? Charlie Kirk is a guy who works, the group's called Turning Point USA, but what he does is he goes around college campuses. The local college Republican group or whatever will invite him. He'll set up a little tent with the table, and he will video himself debating the local kiddos on campus about the issues of the day. And that's how he makes his bones. It's really effective stuff to see a guy just go out there and randomly field questions, almost all of which are antagonistic on some of the hottest issues of the day. And he's not sitting there with a computer and a backup system and an earpiece and some fact checkers. It's just a dude at a table with a camera and a microphone, and how easily he just swats down opposition. And it's great to see, like, these people in their own words on college campuses, how bold they are about some of these things that they just get so wrong. And so he was on some campus with another guy who hates America, and his name's Nunya.
What's your name?
None of your business, unfortunately.
Okay, hello, nice to meet you. None of your business.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So, do you love America?
Yes, I do.
I hate America.
Oh.
Every state in the USA should be an independent country. What do you think of this?
Well, I just first have to ask, since you hate the country, do you plan to leave?
What do you mean by that?
Do you plan to go live in another country?
No, I do not.
Let me tell you something.
Your face is an idiot.
America is the only country where even those who hate it refuse to leave. That's how you know you live in a great country.
Can you prove that?
You're here. You're still
thank
here.
You. May I have a hat?
No.
No.
Don't give him a hat.
So let me ask you.
It was a Charlie Kirk
none
hat.
of your business. Who do you plan to vote for?
I plan to vote for Kamala Harris.
No. Nuh-uh.
Why?
I mean, you answered my question, so I'm done here. Like, there are people waiting.
Can you tell me her greatest accomplishment?
No, I can't.
Can you tell me a single accomplishment?
I cannot. I want to leave.
And he just walks off. He just says bye and walks off. He just leaves the open microphone. That's so great. Dude, I watched that like 6 times because it's a video where every time you watch it, you catch something else. Like, did you hear the guys in the background? Like, you're an idiot, or wash your hair. You know, you catch these guys in the background just lobbing bombs, which is hilarious. Something you didn't have to see, but I know you heard, and it probably made you giggle a little bit. Yes, he was wearing a mask. He's wearing in 2024. We're like 9 years removed from the pandemic. The Cochrane studies come out. Masks don't work, and there's not a pandemic anyway. So what are you doing? It was just all gravy, man. It was perfect. And the guy looks like he hasn't even been next to testosterone in his entire life. You know, he's decent height. Look like he's about 5'10", but 115 pounds or so. He's a little guy. All right, just had a little bit of fun with that. Thought you'd like it too. Early voting reporters, bring it on. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we're going to talk to the Texas Scorecard, and it looks like some Texas schools around here may be breaking some state laws against electioneering. Details next on The James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. What I don't like to see is if these drop boxes catching fire. We had talked about that quite a bit on yesterday's show. I'm keeping my eye on any of these stories because, again, nation of 330 million people, there's going to be some goobers screwing up somewhere. But if it's too widespread, I don't expect the media to be all on the up and open and honest in their reporting because they've given you plenty of reason to not trust them when anything overlaps with politics over the last, especially 8 years, but really your entire life. So that's one of the reasons we keep doing the early voting reports. Even if everything looked good, let's get a bunch of stuff on the record. And if anything, people make accusations after the fact or this thing gets drawn out and we need to have a body of evidence, this is where we'll start. But I'm also watching like what's going on with the fraudulent voter registration applications in Pennsylvania. I think that's going to be a huge story. This is a swing state. What are they going to do when Tuesday rolls around and some of these people try and vote? What's going to happen then? These are things that are going to determine the election. We had the big Supreme Court ruling, I think it was Supreme Court ruling, come down about the Virginia case. And this is a wild one because Virginia had a system by which they audited their voter rolls. And if they could find, if they could prove that you were not an eligible voter, you were going to be taken off the voter rolls, including illegal immigrants, citizens of other countries. People have no right to be voting here. Not just like, well, I moved across town and didn't update my address. No, these are people who have no business voting anywhere in the country. So they came up with the system. They audited it. They double checked it. They tried to kick those voters off. They got sued. Another court stepped in, stopped the voter rolls from being cleaned up, and it had to go all the way to the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court finally said today, yeah, you can kick off ineligible voters. If you can prove that they're ineligible, you can kick them off the voter rolls. And I mean, the question comes, the same thing you're thinking, I'm thinking it right now. Who the hell is fighting cleaning up the voter rolls? Who the hell finds out that we ran some tests, we cross-referenced some database, and there's a bunch of people in the voting system that aren't eligible voters? Who's like, no, we better keep them in there? Because what is your incentive to keep them in there other than cheating? I can't think of one. I can squeeze in one more. Lewis in Fort Worth, if you can do this in 30 seconds, you're going to be my last early voting reporter on The James Show. Go.
Not a problem. I went down to Burleson to vote, and took a friend with me because he's disabled. And then I came up to Keller and took my ex-wife over to vote.
Why did you give your ex-wife a ride? What are y'all, friends? You're not supposed to be friends. You're supposed to be at each other's throats. Everything goes smooth?
We're friends. Yeah, everything went fine. And both of the voters' places, we got in 20 minutes.
20 minutes. All right, well, that's not in and out like ideally, but that's still pretty damn good. Okay, well, you got us locked down for 2 jurisdictions there. Thank you, Lewis and Fort Worth.
Thank you.
All right. That's going to do it for the James Show today. Find more of the James Show. I know you didn't get to hear all 3 hours today. I'm going to go put it up. There's a James Show podcast. It lives on at WBAP.com and the WBAP app. But really, pretty much anywhere you're already listening to podcasts, if you search for James Parker or the James Show, it'll pop up. Go ahead and subscribe there. It's not my preference, but I'd rather you do that than not miss it at all. And I've been backloading a bunch of James Show highlights onto the WBAP YouTube channel. I think some people have figured out the entirety of the Blonde Kamala archives can be found on the WBAP YouTube channel. So if you're a fan of her work, you may want to go check that out. All right, stay put. Mark Levin's coming up next. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.